A lot of people feel sorry for the animals at the zoo, and I can sort of see their point. The lions and tigers are thinking, I used to hunt wild game in the jungle, race across the grassy tundra, sip water from blue lagoons. Now I get to watch little Brandon pick his nose and complain about the Lunchables mom packed. Plus, there's brew at the zoo and wine in the wilderness for the alcoholic segment of zoogoers. 5 Chardonnays in, and Beverly's trying to take a selfie with the polar bear. That's not going to end well. Because you never know that mission to the food line, how it's going to play out. That old lady buying the pork loin might have been packing. Now there's some kind of controversy with the Texas Longhorns. I don't know what their beef is, quite frankly.
You see, they got 3 hibachis going, a pellet grill, a barbecue pit smoker. Is this a football game, or are we feeding a squadron of Marines?
Good question here.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
We have returned.
Finally, the chill of fall seems to be a little in the air.
Yes. We have quite the Halloween decoration to unveil in this episode, so I think you guys are really going to like our latest acquisition.
Yeah, I missed out on them last year. I'll tell you the story later, but I was not going to be denied this year.
Anyway.
So recently, driving around, people have all kinds of shit on their cars. Signs. I don't have a problem with bumper stickers, especially witty ones.
Yeah.
I even like the coexist with all the different signs. But some people have the strangest idea in terms of automotive accessories.
Yes, this is true. Like what?
Right off the bat,
the
thing that really chaps my ass. We'll get to that part later. But the thing that really bothers me is the trucks with a fake pair of balls hanging from the trailer hitch.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
4-wheel drive, V8, tinted windows. But look at the set of balls on that bitch.
Yeah.
Guess it's a boy.
Must be what they're thinking. Yeah. The female version of that, it seems like it's usually like a Volkswagen Bug where the woman feels that she has to decorate the headlights with eyelashes. I always think maybe it's Nissan. Maybe it's Maybelline. They apparently also sell these stickers that look like bullet holes that you can put on your car. I don't understand the point of this. You pull up at your daughter's school and they'll assume that you just left a lethal weapon style shootout outside of the Applebee's, I guess.
Or you're Tony Soprano, one of those two.
Yeah.
For those really seeking the wrong kind of attention, you can get what looks like a bloody human arm that hangs out the back of your trunk.
Okay.
This is a clear indicator of binge watching ID channel or regular true crime. Just a little too much.
A little too much.
I did like the entrails I saw caught in the grill of a car driving around. At least I hope that was fake.
Yeah.
Cars that are pulling trailers with entire skeletons on motorcycles, because every day is a good day to distract everyone else while driving with your disturbingly detail-oriented, crazy light-up display. I guess the front lawn was just not getting enough attention on that dead-end road. Nope. Taking this morbid creative coloration on tour.
And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our latest addition, Dean the Deathologist.
Tell us all how it is that you ended up in our company. Why, it appears that your heart still beats. Oh dear, no offense intended, of course. I meant it in the highest regard, you understand. There was a time that this establishment was only for the most esteemed clientele.
He's chatty.
Please stop.
Half of these nuts can't pay their liquor tax, and the other half are just pulled straight out of their rib cages. But no matter. Looks like you're thirsty, so step on up to the bar if you dare.
So funny story. Last year we saw Dean at our local Home Depot, and I was going to get him in like early October.
Yeah.
Sold out. I did a search. There was like one all the way in Abingdon or something, or Aberdeen. And you couldn't order him online. So I thought, well, I'll just find him somewhere else.
Yeah.
He's exclusive to the Home Depot. I'm not sure why the Home Depot decided, but they are huge. That's where you get all the big skeletons. I don't know if that's exclusive to them too. but somebody decided this was a way to go for them. So this year we went to the Home Depot and I didn't see him. But I went on the Home Depot website, and this year you could have him delivered. There were only about 250 some left. So I had to pull the plug and get him.
Yeah, so he's become very near and dear to our hearts. I had him upstairs, but he's like 9 feet tall, and every time I rounded the corner, I would be like he kept scaring me. So I had to bring him back down here.
There. Our cat also was staring at him, like couldn't quite figure out what was going on.
Well, anyway, and getting back to auto accessories, I like the way, remember they used to have this cute little baby on board signs? I saw one the other day it's devolved to this. It said, "Big fat mama up in this bitch." I was like, that's how you want to label your car. Okay.
If you really want to customize your car, you can get a custom horn. When just the beep is just too harsh and in no way reflects your personality. This might be cute to pull up in front of a friend's house and hit your wheel and have it go cucaracha, la cucaracha, da da da. Or, if that doesn't fit you, and this is true, there's a place online, you can get everything from an angry chimp to a cougar growling to your favorite college fight songs to Christmas songs or sounds, so that no one will know that, hey, you are about to back into me. You don't.
Right.
Because any of the above sounds are not going to compute with the other person who's hearing dashing through the snow 3 times in rapid succession.
What's that wonderful Christmas music? Bonk. Just for that kind of horn.
Serve the purpose of an actual horn.
No. Sad.
Hello.
No. Fuzzy dice hanging from the rear view, right? That was originally brought about by fighter pilots during World War II for luck. And it was supposed to symbolize every mission was a roll of the dice. So then the survivors brought that tradition home, and soon the trend caught on. Because you never know that mission to the food line, how it's going to play out. That old lady buying the pork loin might have been packing.
Remember antenna toppers? Who wouldn't want a chunk of foam to mess up the reception? Or you could even get like a sports helmet, your favorite sports team. Yeah. I guess they suffered their demise when physical antennas kind of went out of vogue. They were annoying. They were constantly getting snapped off in car washes. Then they developed the motorized ones that would go up and down when you turn the engine on. Mm-hmm. Really, it was just one more motor ready to go up. And then it would leave you tuneless, snapping away to static. Yeah. That happened to my dad.
I'm old enough to remember when we used to just have the old CD sun visor wallets. And I swear I missed that. That was easier. You could just glance across and be like, okay, Pearl Jam, right? Stick it in. Now with our phones, you literally have to search through all the music ever recorded to find your song. It's like, no, not Evanescence. No, not Everly Brothers. No, not Every Time I Die. Fucking Even Flow. There it is. I mean, this used to be easier.
Sometimes it's a struggle for me to get my iPhone to connect to the car stereo. Turn Bluetooth off, on, off, on.
I know.
No, still not playing. Off, on. There we go. And then I have the volume up so loud.
By that time, we're already at the liquor store, so it doesn't matter. So I was thinking about going to professional sports games the other day. Not sure about other countries, but here it's very easy to tell the casual fans from, shall we say, the more extreme attendees of sporting events. Outfits range from a favorite player's jersey to slathering your torso in body paint and donning a hat that looks like a slab of cheese.
I always like the guy who in the middle of winter's painted shirtless. Like, how is he not dying?
Mm-hmm.
The people getting dressed up to get a glimpse of camera time at games has become like sort of a ghetto Comic-Con.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers dude has his hair refashioned to look like a pirate ship is growing out of his head.
Interesting.
How about wearing a full headdress of carrots complete with war paint? Hello, ladies.
That's a good way to pick them up. There's a dude that used to go to Ravens games. He wore this weird combination of purple camouflage and military gear, and he nicknamed himself Captain Defense. He used to carry on the D in the fence with him. I remember meeting him one time, and I'm wondering, should I be saying thank you for your service? What's the etiquette?
Hooray for pickets.
Christ on a cracker. The first time I went to Ravens training camp, we go in, and then they separate the kids from the adults for autographs. I thought it was bizarre at first. They put the kids a good 10 feet away from the parents in this little sort of penned-in area, and then the players would come up and sign things, right? It didn't take me long to figure out the logic here, right? As soon as the players started signing, all the moms and dads around us erupted, screaming at the kids, Michael, get him to sign the helmet, Michael, the helmet. They were lunatics. It was like hollering like furloughed auctioneers. Aaron, push to the front. Get the jersey signed, Aaron. Aaron, stick your arm out.
Well, it's basically using their child to get their autograph.
Well, you can see why the parents aren't actually there. They'd be tackling each other. The poor little 8-year-olds didn't stand a chance against the more savvy 12-year-olds that were getting autographs on everything from footballs to major appliances. Jason, he needs to sign the top of the microwave, not the door. God damn it, that boy. It was one of the most disappointing displays of adult behavior I have ever witnessed since clotheslining an overzealous toddler with a dog leash during a public egg hunt to throw up a block for their child. It's an egg, people. That actually did happen. Yes.
Wow. You know, speaking of sports fanaticism, some of the tailgating setups I've seen at games and parking lots rival the grand feasts of Cleopatra.
Yeah.
You see, they got 3 hibachis going, a pellet grill, a barbecue pit smoker. Is this a football game or are we feeding a squadron of Marines?
Good question.
You know, I once went to an Eagles game where they had multiple working flat screens mounted on a bus showing different games going on. The bus was all painted with the eagle crushing, the cowboy and the giant stepping on him. And they had multiple beer pong tables, a whole buffet with pulled pork fixing, mozzarella sticks, and salads. You just hopped up onto the bus and started loading your plate. But wait, at the back of the bus, they had various IPA kegs. Yeah, I don't remember the game at all.
I'd never leave the bus.
Total blackout city. I mean, what game?
The most serious tailgating I ever saw was I went to Chicago to a Bears game once. That was a few years ago. The whole lot was full of tailgaters. So the game starts, they empty out, watch the game ends, they come back and they fire up the grills again after the game. Apparently nobody needed to go to work on Monday. This was like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, okay, the party can never stop.
All that cheering works you up an appetite. You got to flip those burgers back on.
Okay, we'll talk about our feature interview.
Excited about these guys? Our feature interview this week is with Nacho Perez and Javier Salgado of the Chilean thrash metal band Mayhemic. We have a fascinating discussion with these 2 guitarists about the state of the metal scene in Chile and the making of their amazing concept record, Toba, that we literally can't stop listening to, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's hear a song. This is Collarbone Crushed Neanderthal. Okay, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth podcast. And for $6.66 a month, you get an overflowing flaming clown car full of Mark and Stace.
This week, it's Thin Lizzy's 1973 album, Vagabonds of the Western World.
That's right. We've been doing one Thin Lizzy review every week. Let's see what we think of this classic from the Eric Bell era.
Which one of your favorites is going to come out on top?
That's right. And the only way to find out is to head over to Patreon and check it out.
The cost of becoming a patron of the show is less than you spend at Starbucks or at the Zoo and ice cream. So think of it that way.
Obviously, you can tell that we're spending money on props, as it were. So we need all the help we can get. So get on over there and show your support while you're at it. Check out our Instagram page. Tons of shows being live streamed by Stace. Say hi on Facebook and don't forget to follow this show. We need your patronage. Okay. Take the kids to the zoo, right? The giraffes drooled. You had to like duck and weave to prevent getting drooled on from high altitude. I always wonder why don't the giraffes on Wild Kingdom drool? They're not leaking saliva all over the prairie. At least not on TV, they weren't.
At least in Baltimore, the giraffes can go outside, but they can also come inside to this giraffe house, which kind of looks like a tiled bathroom without the toilets. But it's of course tall enough, they can parade in there, and they kind of just have a wall that doesn't go all the way up, so the giraffe heads can stick over the wall. My daughter wanted to pet one, so she was about 4, so I put her on my shoulder so she could reach up to touch the giraffe. This is when we discovered, fun fact, giraffes have a purple tongue. I know because one licked and drooled all over my daughter as I held her up to pet him.
Before we forget, Stace, you know what really chaps my ass? Our sponsor this week, Chap My Ass Seltzer. It's refreshing to the point of pure irritation. So one time we're at the zoo and my daughter, she threw her sippy cup in with the rhinoceros. Little shit, right? So we had to scare up one of the zookeepers to go get it, right? So we're watching this rhinoceros. It never moved. It just kept staring at us and it was tail flicking, right? And so finally the lady comes back with the cup and she goes, Peaches is really mad now. And I'm like, how could you tell? Was she doing like deep yoga breathing or something? Seemed okay to me.
Oh, and you know what? I just remembered this. I had a 5K that we ran through the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember the part where you kind of run by the rhinos and it kind of almost resembles a little boardwalk?
Yeah.
Well, all of us are stampeding across this, running, and it's making a lot of noise. And out of my peripheral, you could see the rhino charging at us. Of course, he couldn't actually get to us because of the way, but it really scared the hell out of me for a minute.
Not bad.
That picked up my pace for that mile for sure. I was like, ah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I always thought it was a little dumb that they have animals in the zoo that you can see anywhere. Ours has chickens. If I want to see them, I can walk down to my crazy neighbor's coop at the end of our street.
Yeah.
A deer? My dad hit one of them with the Oldsmobile last week.
Yeah. What the hell's the point?
Leopard, goddammit.
Like, that's what I want to say. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he gets a tiny enclosure and he just paces back and forth furiously because the farm animals literally get the run of the yard. And he, apex predator, has a 6x6 steel cage.
I've gone down rabbit holes of watching snow leopard videos on YouTube. It's fascinating. You can't see them at all until it's too late. It's crazy. I mean, they're camouflaged so perfectly.
But not in a steel cage.
Not in a
Kind of ruins it for
No.
them. Pissed about it. I don't know. My kids always loved the farm section. I think it was the hands-on, because you can't pet the snow leopards.
Yeah.
Mostly they loved the slide and the silo too. It was like huge. Like they've never been on a slide before, but they would run and do that 5 and 6 times, And it was really cool. At the top, we were like inside the barn and they had barn owls, like just sitting up there.
They're huge, yeah. Imagine the poop.
Oh my God. But we would also like to watch, they had a little hatching view area and you could cheer baby chicks out of their shell. Oh, and the goat petting area, where you could pet our rectangular pupilled friends and maybe watch them eat your sleeve off.
That actually happened to you, didn't it?
It actually did.
So I started looking at the calendar for the local zoo, actually Baltimore Zoo. And I remember, I've been for years, they used to have lots of kid-friendly events, but I guess they're going for the adult market now because for Valentine's Day, February 14th, they have an event called Sex at the Zoo. I guess watching the prairie dogs go at it sets the perfect mood for romance. I don't know. Plus, there's brew at the zoo and wine in the wilderness for the alcoholic segment of zoo goers. 5 Chardonnays in and Beverly's trying to take a selfie with the polar bear. That's not going to end well.
I actually did go to brew at the zoo one year. Sadly, they put our drunk asses far away from the animals. I mean, how boring. The only animals who wandered over was an uncaged peacock and a llama that you could take pictures with. So I thought it was a good idea. It makes it look like you toss suds with a llama, how much fun. But when I went to take my selfie, he reached down and in one mouthful stole my $9 food truck grilled cheese.
It sucks.
Yeah. And he drooled.
It's such a fun experience.
Yeah. But I always they used to take the kids to the pumpkin stomp. Around Halloween, they literally have a dump truck of pumpkins and they put them in front of the elephants who like to stomp on them. So they could turn them into mush with often just one hoof in a festive game of dousing onlookers with pumpkin puree.
It's a weird fetish. A lot of people feel sorry for the animals at the zoo, and I can sort of see their point. The lions and tigers are thinking, I used to hunt wild game in the jungle, race across the grassy tundra, sip water from blue lagoons. Now I get to watch little Brandon pick his nose and complain about the Lunchables Mom packed. Swell.
just thought it was a little unfair. Like I said, the snow leopard was in that little cage. The tiger was in a little cage. The cheetah had a whole like field and he was behind glass. And I was like, how does he get a field?
That's a good point.
I don't know. You know, there's a sign on the tiger cage that says, if the tiger puts his tail up, back up. See, they get a kick out of spraying pee on the too curious. No wonder the monkeys fling poo at the glass. They're tired of witnessing white privilege.
That makes sense to me, yeah. There's never not controversy. I mean, let's face it, the salamanders know the porcupines think they're slime balls. The storks think they're superior because they've got babies to deliver all day long. The cheetah makes fun of the warthog's complexion, and the owls hate the peacocks for being show-offs, and the armadillo claims that the miniature donkey is a complete jackass. Now there's some kind of controversy with the Texas Longhorns. I don't know what their beef is, quite frankly. Plus, we've all heard the phrase sarcastic as a chinchilla, so don't get me started on that. By the way, your fur coat is mocking me.
Years ago, the Baltimore Zoo had the brilliant idea to build what was known as the Hippo House.
Oh, God.
I'm not sure what brainiac thought it made sense to keep dozens of hippos inside.
The stench was awful.
No, they're not sea otters, for Christ's sake. The stench in that place was
It
unreal.
was terrible.
It was dark. It was wet. It was scary. A great place. Even the flies left gagging.
On that note, let's play a song. This is Mayhemic with Toba. Let's talk about imperfect foods.
Our sponsor this week is Imperfect Foods. I can't tell you what a staple this has become to our lives. I look forward to our order every week. You too can get groceries and pantry staples. You can even get drinks, desserts, bakery items delivered right to your door, packed in ice. We were talking about the great variety of things that they have on Imperfect, and as well as, you know, the typical vegetables, fruits, things like that. But they have incredible meats. We have lamb burgers cooked upstairs right now.
Yeah, can't wait to tear into that.
Freeform patties. They have beef already seasoned for fajita that you don't have to do a darn thing to. Maybe add a little jalapeno. Just some great products. Peri Peri chicken. Wow, knocked out of the park. They have chicken cordon bleu. You just toss it into the air fryer. Super easy for super tasty, easy meals. They
And
even have salad.
A lot of variety in portion sizes. If you have a big family, they can accommodate that. But if it's smaller portions like me and Stace, getting chicken wings, I don't need to buy 92 chicken wings at Walmart for just her and I. You can actually get a decent portion size from Perfect. I really like that, you know.
And the snacks. Our latest obsession has been the hot chicken skins. We found them on Imperfect. We actually went over to the company's website and ordered a big pack of them.
Yep.
So
Obsessed. Anyway,
so many different things. They've got great sauces, spices, you name it. Use our link, get over there, get your own food shipped for free to your front door. You can even now tip the drivers if you wish,
okay.
so they don't smash your eggs.
Okay. It is time for Wax of Contrition. And this week, we've got a good one. This show is all things Latino, apparently. This week, we're going to talk about Forca Macabre's album Aqua Ao Inferno from 2008.
We've all heard the cliches that English is the language of rock and roll. I tend to find that we, especially in the USA, tend to think the world of music sort of revolves around us. New York, Los Angeles, Seattle. It's all about us, apparently, except when it isn't. Forca Macabre, English translation, Macabre Gallows, is a 4-piece crossover thrash band from Helsinki, Finland, formed way back in 1991 by mainstay members Oswaldo Torres, Exterminio, vocals, guitar, and Oscar Deadbrain Antisti, drums, as a tribute to classic Brazilian hardcore and metal acts like Overdose, Ratos de Porio, and Armageddon. And while this sounds like an idea for a tribute EP or a one-off side project, this band has been going strong for over 3 decades, cranking out 3 full-length discs along with a truckload of splits and compilations during that time. Add to this fact that the band has only experienced a modest number of lineup changes during that time, 3 to be exact, it becomes apparent that this is a fascinating and unusual study for fans of both metal and hardcore.
Aqua Ao Inferno, a little title that translates to This is Hell, thank you, Google Machine, is a good solid half hour of very metal-informed crossover thrash, most tracks running right around 2.5 minutes. Looking over the band's bio, it would appear that the 1999 edition of second guitarist Heiko Abutre E. Hate has gelled quite nicely by this point, and the entire album is peppered with wailing leads, some even harmonized. It's obvious that these guys take the Devil's Good music quite seriously, as evidenced by the very Hell Awaits inspired intro to the opener, Esfera Metal, which translates to Metal Sphere. In no time flat, the band is bounding along like a greyhound. Drummer Oscar Antiti's hard-driving engine room workout, never letting up for the track's full duration. Otto woofing and spitting like an angry Doberman. So let's play a song. This is a clip from Esfera Metal. Okay, continuing on with Porca Macabra.
Bass player Pedro Anzares gets a nice workout introducing Massacre do Odio, and Hecatomb Alcohola is the heaviest song that Nuclear Assault never wrote. The pulsating guitar intro and Antiti's spastic rolls kicking things off in the most unusual way before settling into a breakneck groove punctuated by a guttural chorus. The band's not afraid to dabble outside the genre. For example, the rock and rollish giddy-up shuffle that punctuates Guerrero do Rock, or the backward-sounding guitar noise instrumental of Vu do Abutre. Finhos da Tormenta, or Children of the Storm, may have the most impressive guitar workout on the entire disc. The main riffing setting up for an epic lead about the 1-minute 40-second mark, well, as epic as you can pack into a 3-minute song.
They may not be the most prolific band in the crossover scene, but Porca Macabra have shown a consistency and fearlessness few acts can boast. Always love the artwork for this one too. The black cobras against that green background, as visually striking as it is unusual. And once again, U.S. distribution means that you can grab a mint vinyl copy of this puppy for around $15 with shipping. So there's no reason to keep missing out on Porca Macabra. So let's play a song.
This is Massacre do Odio. All right, here comes our interview. We had a great chat with these 2 young gentlemen from Mayhemic. If you haven't checked out Tobas yet, definitely put that on your to-do list. I think these up-and-comers may very well be on a lot of album of the year lists.
They really schooled us on what it's like in Chile.
Yeah.
It's a really good interview. Yeah.
So
I was surprised.
Yeah. So check it out.
Nice cut.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. He's decided that he interviews now. I don't know what his deal
Yeah.
is.
It's okay. I like
He
him.
likes-
He's cool.
Well, thanks for doing this. It's great. We were blown away by the new album. I mean, it's, in terms of just one of the better thrash albums we've heard this year. Wow, really good,
Thank you. Glad you like it.
Yeah, we really did. Let's start off with I guess we'll go back to the beginning. The name Mayhemic, who came up with that and where did it come from?
Well, the name Mayhemic was an idea after the chorus of a Chilean death thrash metal band. It's called Reaper, and the song "The Last Day" say something like "War of pain, war of death, war of humanity. Mayhemic is the last day. People with fear, Satan is here." And Reaper is one of my favorite bands in Chile and all of the world. So when I was like 16, 17, I was crazy with that lyrics. So at the
Yeah.
time that we started with my Hemic, I was trying to find a word which describes the intentions that we have with the music. It's like, yeah, we try to play faster than creator, but with that essence in the vocals, principally that has a lot of influence of black metal. So the word Mayhemic, I thought at the time that really catch that energy and concept. And there was no intention to sound similar to Mayhem, but the coincidence is
Yeah.
like funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does really capture kind of the chaos and the speed. So I had a feeling it had nothing to do with mayhem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
People make fun of us about that.
Yeah.
also, wow, what a concept to talk about a volcano that happened so long ago. I had not even heard that story.
Yeah.
How did that kind of come about being a theme?
Well, the concept of the album, more than the Toba event, is when I was thinking about the lyrics that the album will be. Actually, I was trying to do a concept album about extinction, and some situations of the past and hypothetical on the future that shows different scenarios of extinction. And when I was finding some of the topicals, like for example the Black Death in Europe in the Middle Ages, and the theory about the Neanderthal genocide, one of the topics that comes to me was the super explosion of the volcano Chova. And the thing that is so special for me about this scenario is if this scenario really happened, like the most Nacho, ayúdame, como lo que los científicos ponderan como lo más brígido, Nacho.
If this happens like the scientific said that could be.
Sorry, my English.
No, it's fine.
That was the situation that put on the in the human race in the most dangerous place. It's like when the Chova event occurs, there was like I don't know, 1 million or 10 millions of people between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens on the Earth. But at the moment that Chova volcano explodes, there was only like 1,000 people or
Wow.
10,000 people on the Earth. Casi se murieron, Nacho.
They almost die, he said.
Right. It wiped out almost everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Not like for example, the Black Death in the Middle Age that that really killed a lot of people, but not at the same point that was the super explosion of the volcano, Toba volcano. the most colossal force that hit us in the past, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of controversial about Neanderthals and whether they were genocide or they just inbred. It was probably a little bit of both. So I didn't know what your personal theories were on all that.
Well, it's clear that the Neanderthal genocide is just a theory. In fact, we don't know specifically what ended with the Neanderthal race or something, but I was really interested in that theory in specific. One of the most powerful reasons that why the human race is here right now, on the top of the species of the earth, is because in great part because things like our violence, our nuestra capacidad de Nacho de sobreponernos ante las adversidades.
Um, our capacity of afford the adversity.
Yeah.
And yeah, and all of that things sounds so powerful with a music like Mayhemic was writing at the time. So the theory uh, match very perfectly with that story, even it was of that way or not.
Yeah.
It's much like the lyrical concepts.
Because back then you didn't have a lot of like plundering without the raping, so it's got to be a little.
Yeah, yeah.
God, and volcanoes scare the hell out of me. I mean, we got lucky when Mount St. Helen went because it wasn't around like a populated area. But when you talk about flying in, like when you fly into Seattle, all of a sudden you just see Mount Rainier, which is a huge, huge volcano. And it's right freaking in the shadow of Seattle. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if that thing ever.
Yeah. Right up on it. Yep.
God.
Yeah.
Although they say it's not likely, but I don't know. I'm not going to be living by any volcanoes at any time.
No,
Yeah.
I imagine it's so scared
Yeah.
in that way.
I wanted to ask you about the scene in Santiago. What's it like? I mean, is it competitive, or is there a lot of bands? Is it a good scene?
Is it supportive?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of bands. You have too many styles. You have everything here. You have thrash metal, death metal. Even you have like several thrash metal scenes in Santiago. You have the violent thrash scene. You have the scene from Valparaíso, from the south of Chile that's more extreme. You have death metal here, and you have events almost every weekend. And I don't know, like 5, 6 events per week, and
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously you can
That's
go to
great.
everything, and that's good because we have a lot of quality here. But that's bad because I think we have more musicians than public here. As
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
sounds funny, but it's true. At least in the scene, because I don't know, you go to the Estadio Nacional to see Iron Maiden, and obviously it's full. But
Right.
if you go to see Mayhemic to La Comarca, you can see 90, 90 people.
Ah.
If it was a good day, I mean, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
There was a show that only there was only one people, and that people was my girlfriend. you know.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So you have it is competitive because of that. But I don't think that is in a bad way because almost all bands support each other. We bought the material, we trade, we invite each other to play. So I don't know, some scenes don't match. An example that I like to make is that I really love when I was practicing Kultem, the death metal band. but we never play with them. I know them face to face, but it will be weird if we play together. It will be great, but it will be weird because they play once a year, twice a year, and they
Mm.
play with other kind of bands. I mean, Force of Darkness, Atomicide, this kind of band more extreme than us. You mean, you know, so it's cool and it's weird, but
Yeah.
at least we have the shows almost every weekend, so I could think that we can see these bands every weekend, but it's not that true because I mean the biggest bands, not great because it's relative, but the biggest bands in terms of numbers they play not really often. I mean, so it's cool and it's weird at the same time but it's great to see that a lot of bands are getting out of Chile, playing in the US, in Europe, in South America. And that's cool.
Yeah.
I always think that it's very positive that people outside Chile have the impression that the scene is good. So I think it's good. It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, you guys really stand out, as far as your technical difficulty and your, the guitars are everywhere from noodling to, oscillating. It's great. If I walked in a bar and you guys were playing, I would be blown away. I mean, and we've had that happen. In fact, we've been to like recently big shows like Slipknot Knocked Loose, where you're in an arena seated, or like, Baltimore, soundstage is what, 500-600 people max, or like smaller venues that Metro, which is like 250.
Yeah. And we
And
really
it was
like,
like we just went to one Friday night. You guys would have fit the bill perfectly, but it was a little bar. And sometimes I enjoy the more intimate settings. You can talk to the band, you can, find out more about them, and I don't
we
know.
like the smaller venues. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
that's true. I mean, I like it. I prefer it too. I mean, the big things, I don't know, I always remember my first concert one of my first concerts that it was the Black Sabbath with Mega show
Okay.
in Estadio Monumental here in Santiago. I had like 16 years or 15 years. And I remember that all this sea of people drawn me. I am a short person. I'm not very tall, so it was like like I have a great time obviously, but it's not the best time like healthy reasons.
Yeah.
But so and that you say that we can talk with the band and stuff, it's cool too. I like the small venues too, but I mean, one thing is a small venue, and other thing is play just for the Noctambra girlfriend, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
the
have to,
that's the
to
thing.
ask, like, when you have like a mosh pit, like in something bigger, like say Maryland Death Fest here, we always have, it seems like one person dressed up like a horse or a banana. Do you guys have that? Or?
Do people
No,
dress up down there?
not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
I could take it or leave it. There's always
No.
somebody when we go to a show in the mosh pit that's dressed up like a
Ketchup
unicorn
bottle.
or a
something.
ketchup bottle. That's like a
I
new
mean,
trend in the US. Yeah.
I saw once here,
Yeah.
but it's not really common, you know.
Yeah.
I think it
That
could be
doesn't
more.
happen here.
I
Yeah.
think it could be more usual in the grindcore scene, not so much in the thrash or
Yeah.
death metal. People here in the scene wear like a serious posture. They
Yeah.
are these people is like he look like that and cross
Yeah.
arms,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not always that.
Yeah.
Arms
Yeah.
crossed.
There is a lot of people thinking that like a show and fun and stuff, Maybe in greencore scene, that's why I think the most little guys prefer to go to the greencore shows because it's more fun, it's more cheaper.
Yeah.
They are with your friends. They can see. I mean, 30 bands in one day playing 10
Yeah.
minutes. It's not my
Yeah.
scene, but it's clearly more friendly for people who wants fun.
In the
That
metal
fantastic.
Yeah.
in the metal scene in Chile, the people get really crazy at the concert, but more on the traditional way. with
Yeah.
headbanging and things like that, mosh pits, but
Yeah.
it's not like you comment on and we have seen a lot of times in videos when we watch videos like, I don't know, fests, different festivals on North America or in Europe, we we see a lot of that kind of things that you comment, and for us it's really like, wow, it's weird,
It is.
but it's
Yeah.
really cool. I really I really wanted that kind of things happen here. It will
Yeah.
be really really funny. I think.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was in Europe a few times, and I went to few festivals. I went to Hellfest in 2019 and
Okay.
Brutal Assault last year, and that surprised me. The people dress up like, I don't know, the
Yeah.
Avengers, or people naked.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
that was fun to see. I don't know, Emperor with with Iron Man stand
Yeah.
besides me.
But it just seems like from your region, there is such
Yeah.
great music that comes out of it. Like
Yeah.
as soon as he hears that, he's like, this is going to be great.
Yep. Yep.
What do you think it is about like that? It's kind of like the demographics where, great death metal comes from Switzerland or, black metal, but you guys really thrive on the thrash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. I think it has to be with the social stuff. South America is not the poorest region in the world. I mean, you have Africa, but it's not the richest one. So I think there is some acquisitive power to have instruments and to
Yeah.
listen music. But we have hits, I think, with, well, we as region, I mean, not we as Noctumbra Night, there is a rage for the government politicians, because of the pico en el ojo, we say in Chile, the dick in the eye they put to us.
Okay.
The South American are most of the corruptors politicians in the world, so I think there is a lot of rage because of that, social rage especially. Um, and the streets, I mean, Chile is not the most dangerous place in South America, but I think is more dangerous than the US or Europe.
Yeah.
So being the streets is more aggressive, like being in other places. We pass a lot of time on the street.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be with that. Also, we
I'm
have tradition from the 80s. We have old bands like Pentagram, Atomic Aggressor, Sadism, Necrosis, Warpath. So we have some tradition of old bands. So most of the first bands, like the Chilean people listen, were death metal or thrash. The more known scene is thrash or death metal. So I think that's because of that. We have a lots of bands of thrash or death metal,
Yeah.
because of the tradition and the social stuff that I say.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm with the microphone in silence, just recently, but recently sounds a lot of gunshots just ranches outside here. That's a warning that drugs have arrived in the city.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's common in some neighborhoods. In mine, it's not, but there is a lot of neighborhoods that you can hear gunshots and stuffs.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I live in
We're
a
in
dangerous
Baltimore, and
place.
everybody always associates us with The Wire. And I'm like, yeah, it's not really that bad.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, you can live in South America. It depends of the neighborhood. But I mean, I live in a very secure neighborhood. I
Right.
can go out in the night and I have no problem. I've never been assaulting the streets in the night, but I have stories that people that yes, they have been, I don't know, high punches in the face because trying to steal his cell phone and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I would say Chile is not the most dangerous place in South America, but it is more than other places.
Yeah.
It's not that
So
you can go out to the streets. I mean, I don't think
Ah,
but
right.
but
Yeah.
but it is a little bit.
I think any big city has a little bit of its pitfalls. You just got to kind of know where to stay out of.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think so. Yeah. Well, thinking back, when you guys got started, like what was the first like really heavy music that you heard that kind of got you into wanting to start a band? You remember?
For me, it was the first Megadeth.
Okay.
The first band I started listening it was Black Sabbath, but Megadeth it was like an example for me to play a guitar and sing at the same time. Also, if you talk about modern metal, I think Death, Atomic Aggressor from Chile, it was a big influence for me too. I mean, I think that a lot of people who play in Chile, it was inspired more like to Chilean bands than the outside bands. So I can tell Reaper as well, Sadism, Atomic Aggressor. Um, we talk about other influence, one of my favorite bands is Merciless
Okay.
from Sweden. Stuff like that to play violent metal, Unleashed, Possessed, that kind of band. Creator
Yeah.
as well, Dark Angel, the Darkness Descent album especially.
Yeah.
Te he muteado, sí, ya.
When for me, when I was a kid, like I don't know, 9, 10 years, I started listening to music with my best friend. Together, we discovered bands, not really into the most metal part of the music, but things that were in the mouth of the people at the time. Linkin Park, System of a Down, and
Right.
at one point we discovered the first albums of Metallica, Megadeth, and that was uh, at the moment I think that there is the way that I really love. I was in love with the really speed drums, and when I discovered with my friend bands like Dark Angel, Creator, and then we started leading towards thrash metal closer than the German scene in the 80s, bands like Necronomicon, Sodom, Destruction, Exhumer. At that moment, when I was like, I don't know, uh, 15 or 14, that was the moment that I just say, I need to to form a band, to create a band, and I know at that moment that the reason of my life was to be in that way, making
Yeah.
some speed music and violent music,
Yeah.
and trying to explore in the way of express my feelings that I have at the moment, that was very in the way of the anger and the injustice that we at the moment see in the world and on our up and on our own country. That was the kind of lyrics in what I wanted to express. And now I'm 28 years old, and I was in the same way that was uh, in the 14 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. Yep. Yeah.
So, was your family supportive when you decided to kind of go into extreme music? I know that's not everyone's favorite.
Eh,
Um, well, my my father listens to some metal music. Uh, for example, when I was a kid, I found some tapes of bands like Iron Maiden, Testament, and some Motorhead albums. So my father actually likes the music, but when I said to them that I have the intention to form bands and dedicate my life to music, uh, there was like, no, you can't. you are going to die by hungry. You need to do something serious. No, music is like no. Even more in my family, we are not in a situation of poorness like the hell, but the thinking in my family was no, you need to study, you need to becoming something like an engineer, because if you don't do that, you will die by hungry, and you can have health and other stuff.
Yeah.
And my father likes the music, but he doesn't like that the things that I do. I think that he prefers to I was doing something more in the academic style.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm IT engineer, so I think that he won at last.
In my side was kind of funny because my parents all only like salsa
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
folkloric. Oh man, my mom likes salsa and folkloric stuffs. My father likes folkloric stuff too, and acoustic guitar thing and protest like left left wings music
Yeah.
and classical music and that stuff. So it was funny when I started to listen to the music. I remember once my father is kind of funny. So the first time he catch me listen, I think it was Sepultura. He told me, son, this guy is really angry. What happened to him? So
Yeah.
they usually make fun of me because of that. I started to listen to metal music in a very bad moment in my adolescence. So they were happy that I found something that made me happy.
Yeah.
And when I started I can say my musician career as well, they were always worried about my studies and stuff. The typical things of parents. And not so much of the drug stuff, just a little one, but I don't know, I'm more addicted to food and Coca-Cola than in drugs, so they know me.
That's good.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they are supportive in this moment. Actually, they come to see us a few times, especially my mom. My dad went like I think once or twice, but they are supportive with me and they're happy that we are having a good time with music in this moment. Just worry about the studies and stuff, but I think it's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, our neighbors are always like out back playing like mariachi music and stuff, and then we're at our fire pit blasting you guys. I know they're like, what are they
Yeah.
doing?
Exactly. Yeah. Wanted to ask you what the bands, the names that you guys, do you pick your own names or
For your stage
for your
name.
stage names, or are
Mhm.
they assigned? Like, how does that work?
Each one picks their own names. I pick it because I really like for two reasons. One is I really like doom metal too. It's like the opposite, but I like it too. And for the character of Doctor Doom, I'm really fan of Marvel comics and movies. So
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I'm fan of the Fantastic Four. It was pretty obvious, like for me, to choose Doom. Magellis, the bass player, chose it because uh, mechanic stuff he played in the airport when he put
Really?
his name. So he saw it in the in a console, and he
Okay.
decided to put it that way. We discovered that recently when we we were getting up to the plane in for the Bolivian tour, and he told us. I don't remember why Leviathan put this like this, but yeah, each one chose their own line.
That's good. I love the idea of like, your persona coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I
So,
mean, it's not a secret that way. I mean that my name is Ignacio and his name is Javier, but I think it can give some old essence, the I mean, we saw our idols to do that, and we wanted to imitate this because I don't know it's part of the style of the thing. It's more attractive to see Doom than to see Ignacio. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
but it's not that we are trying to keep our identities like a secret because today with the internet is it's not possible, you know.
Right. Right.
But it's cool. I think I like to do that.
It is neat to kind of have like, kind of like to put on your stage presence and kind of become, it's
Yeah.
almost like a little adds a little theater to the whole thing. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do the guys from Death Spell Omega, how do they pull that off? How do they, nobody knows who they are. I mean, and they've been around forever. I don't know how they do that. It's because they're French, I guess. I don't know. No.
I think there are some people that his identity has revealed. I'm not really into that spell Omega, but I think their singer is Minko Aspa. His name is. I don't really know. That guy is
Nobody
from
knows
Sweden.
for sure. No, I mean, I
Yeah.
just from an anonymity, from being anonymous. I think it's cool that they've been able to stay a mystery for so long.
Yeah, but they don't play live. I mean,
Right?
that
They don't play live.
well, we like to play live, so it's impossible, If you don't want to play live, okay,
Yeah.
but if you want to be on the stage with the people, come
Yeah.
on, it's not
right.
really possible.
That's true.
Although,
Yeah.
God, we went to see Wolves in the Throne Rooms locally, and it was so dark on that stage. I could have tripped over the singer later on the way to the bathroom. I wouldn't have known who he was because you could not
Yeah,
see their faces.
they're kind of borderline anonymous. They kind of don't want you to really see them. So.
It was like
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We never think when we always want to play outside of Chile, but we don't really think that is the main way to play to us. We play like most of the time in Santiago with the people that all already know us. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not really possible to us even if we wanted to.
That's really cool. That's very interesting because in the US it's all about the costumes and the masks and the stage. Like that's kind of where everything's going. And it's cool that you guys are still old school where you're just, it's just, the bullet belt and the hair and it's about the music and being genuine. I think that's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we like it too.
Chains and
Yeah.
leather.
So tell me a little about the concepts for Mortuary Feast of Skeletons. I love that album. It looked like almost like zombie skeletons devouring.
Yeah.
At the time that we do the stuff for Mortuary Festival Skeletons was a time when, well, Mayhemic was formed at the time with a solid lineup, but we don't really know where was the way that we wanted to cross. For example, right now we know that we like to do stuff that talks about Neanderthals and catastrophic events, but at the time we don't know if we wanted to make our lyrics sound like in the satanic way or
Right.
in another topical. So Mortuary Festival Skeletons is more than a try to to decide what was the way that we was going to keep. So you have songs that like Shaking Ground that talks about things like ironically was on the album. Shaking Ground talks about earthquakes and things that happens in, for example, in Chile. Chile is a country that have several earthquakes. In the Richter scale, you have a earthquake like sixth grade,
Yeah.
and the people is some people is some scared, but for us it's really normal.
Yeah.
when the earthquake is more than 7 grades, is the moment that it's like
Yeah.
this is
Right.
getting some hard. And 8, well, you have nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's a catastrophe, but you have lyrics that go on that way, and others, like the song Mortuary Festival Skeleton, that is more in a fantastic way. When I wrote that lyric of Mortuary Festival Skeletons, I was trying to describe the cover art of the album Pleasure to Kill. That's
Okay. Yeah.
the reason of the title of the track. Was It's not a secret that Creator, and especially Endless Pain and Mortuary Festival Skeletons, are the biggest inspiration for my Mayhemic music. So at the moment I was trying to describe that scene that I was looking in the cover art. So I think you have skeletons and some mortify sense, and you know and other song styles like Death Spawn talks about some experience that I have, for example, visiting cemeteries and other places that has that atmosphere of death and things close to the paranormal way, you
Yeah.
know. But the music is the same, so we're Mayhemic, trying to play in a way that is primitive, but in the most high velocity that at that point we are able to play. Now I think we play even more speed than at the time, but in that period that was like, wow, this is so fucking it's hateful speed music of the hell.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's great. It's like that logo. I love your logo. It reminds me of Sarcophago's logo a little bit. Very spiky. Who came up with that? Like, who drew that?
A girl called Lisa Lot do it a few
Okay.
years ago. Um, it was a friend of us. Actually, we have some troubles about that because we are like in a rush to have it because we need to play. We're on our
Oh,
debut,
okay.
and she sold me a sketch, and I quickly digitalized it with an app, so she get angry with us. But we're okay. I said sorry to she like a few years ago.
Yeah.
After a few years, we asked to Bastian Velázquez, the guy who draw the artworks from Toba and from The Last Judgment on Cali Blast single, to redesign it. I mean, to have it more in better quality and stuff.
Yeah.
But the original idea was by LDG, was his short name.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I agree that this album is much harder, faster, more chaotic. Love it than ever before. For Collarbone Crush Neanderthal, I love that. That is super specific. I just assumed it was because I guess back then your weapons were what, rocks?
Nacho, ayúdame a traducir y no entendí mucho.
Te está preguntando por la letra del Collarbone.
Um, sorry. The lyrics of Collarbone Crush Neanderthal, like suggest the title. It's in the topic of the theory of the mm, Neanderthal genocide. I was trying to write in first person that which possible happened in the mind of a Homo sapiens of I don't know uh, 40 40 40, ¿cómo se dice 40, Nacho?
40, iba bien.
40,000 years ago, that was living with and against Neanderthals. At the time, the population of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens were like living together, but now here and here, and also mixed, but uh, the Neanderthal population was some kind of uh, has less able to make happen their violence than us. We were more violent, more taller than the Neanderthals, and at some moments, like the last glaciation, um, the competition for the food and other resource that helped people to survive. Uh, we have to fight for all of that, and it's really probably that
Cool.
for the situation we have to fight against this and against the Neanderthals, and that is the topic that I was trying to write when I wrote the lyrics of Collarbone Crash Neanderthal. I tried to write on the way of the most violent mind of that time, and we need to hit you with a rock and pick up some, I don't know, some bones and crush your fucking head and your collarbone
Yeah.
with that, and I have to show to your people that I'm more violent, because if I do that, I can cause in you some fear that is uh, really important to in order to want to survive. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, back then it wasn't like you could stand 1,000 feet away and hit them with a gun. I mean, everything was like hand to hand combat
Yeah.
in your face. Definitely who was stronger
Yeah.
or smarter.
I thought you did a great job with the lyrics too. They're all in English. I know that must have taken a long time to do that. They came out really good.
Thanks. I'm glad that you like the lyrics.
Hmm.
The great the great challenge for me that uh, is, well, today we have a lot of tools like Google Translator and our
Oh
resource.
yeah, yeah.
My English
Yeah.
is I always try to get better in my English, but I really have difficult issues with it.
Yeah.
So it
It's not easy.
it
Yeah.
always was my great challenge for do the lyrics and try to not lose the sense that I put in the lyrics when I
Right.
translate the ideas from
Yeah.
Spanish to English.
Yeah.
This is a real challenge,
Yeah.
but it's funny. I really enjoy it.
I use Google Translate quite a bit myself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So for Valley of the Thundra, I really like it. It's really quite a bruiser. Who decided to include organ also? I think it's a neat fit.
Oh, okay.
Well, Valley of the Tundra, born under the idea that okay, Mayhemic is so fast, so brutal, but uh, we are going to write the first album, and it has to be special. So yeah, I wanted to write the music so fast, but when you have too many fast songs, it will be so hard to eat and
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to
Consumed. Yeah.
process that. And I really wanted that the album, in contraposition of the previous material, I really wanted to have more variety of musical stuff. And so I think, well, I need to write a slow song, but it needs to sound really brutal as well. Uh, Even it's not in the speed way. So okay, I tried to write some riffs, and when I was on tan 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 tan, I think, well, this is so heavy. It's like uh, Black Sabbath in the era of with a time machine. and Tommy Yummy says, "Oh, I'm going to ride a raven that way." And when I got that idea, well, I don't know if I I have be able to create a rave compared with the great mind of Tony Yummy, but I try to write in the way of extinctions. I think, okay, this riff is heavy, and gave me a sense of cold. And well, I'm going to write about the last ice age, and the lyrics are focused on that way, and the glaciations and the struggles that the humankind, both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, have to fight against when was the periods of glaciation. And that's the reason because I choose the title for songs Valley of the tundra that I know it's some kind of vegetations that only grows in the extreme cold temperatures, in the Arctic and
Right.
the hemispheres.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I really like the effect of both, like with Toba, how it kind of starts off kind of slower and builds. It's like you can feel the explosion.
Yeah.
I guess that was done on purpose.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Fun fact, a guy just told us a few years ago that the word toba in Brazil is a funny way for them to refer to us. We figured out that like a few days ago.
Our album is now called Anus.
It's funny. All right. Well, we play a game on the show. Okay. So hopefully you guys will have fun with this. Okay. The game is called Blaspheming Monikers. Okay. And the way it works is I have 5 band names on this piece of paper, right? One of them is fake. One of them's not a real band. So you guys are going to guess which one is fake. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, we understand.
Okay. Perfect Monster, Shovel Monster, Melody Monster, Rock Monster, and Bog Monster. So, which one of those do you think might not be real?
I think Rock Monster.
I will say
Good
Rock Monster
job.
too. I
He
will
got
say
it.
Rock Monster.
He got it. That's right.
I got it.
Right out of the
Hey,
block.
I
Very
win.
good. Very good. Yeah. Perfect Monster is hard rock from Portland. Shovel Monster is groove metal from Phoenix.
Horrible name.
Terrible. Melody Monsters from Brazil. They are crossover thrash. And then Bog Monster is Doom from Australia. So very good. Very good. You know your metal. Yeah.
Lots of
Metal till
monsters.
the end.
Yeah.
So it looks like you guys had a festival coming up in October, the Heart Attack Festival. What were you looking forward most to doing or checking out there?
Well, we are going to play with our friends from Bolivia, or from Nexus and Bestia. We were on tour with them recently. So for me at least, one of the most fun things to do that is to saw them again.
Yeah.
Also, it's the first time that we play in Arica. We had never been to the north of Chile before, just in Santiago, Valparaíso, and Concepción. So, and well, also we are going to play with cool bands from here. We had never played before with Misericord and or Acero Letal. I listened to those bands from that I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So, you don't need to imagine a big fest like the US and Europe ones. They call fest because there is a lot of bands from outside Arica, but it surely will like a small venue thing, and really cool, intimate stuff.
Good.
Most of the shows here is in that format with a lot of bands in a more of 1,000 people venue. I mean, the venue can afford that kind of people, but not necessarily will become a 1,000 people. But that's like the usual format here in Chile. A lot of bands, um, usually an open space, but not always. So
How long do they usually play? Like, does each band play? Is it like half an hour, 45 minutes? How long do you
yeah,
get to play?
something like this. Yeah,
Like that? Okay.
it depends on the band.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing a new band that it have only a demo, a 20-minute demo. That
Yeah.
bands like I mentioned Kulten before. Kulten had like 10 albums, so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not the same. So, but yeah, usually 30 minutes, 45, something like this. Yeah. It's not very common to see bands here playing Chilean bands, playing like an hour or more than that. There is some shows in a bar called Mi Bar or Bar de René that had that format of show, and in Mi Bar you can put only two bands. It's not really common in Chile to see that.
Okay.
To have more extensive shows and with a great sound, I think is the best sound venue in Santiago at least. But it's not very common. Actually, I been in the bar yesterday. I saw Mortajas. It's a doom band from Valparaíso, and Lux Ferre. It's I don't know, it's
Okay.
like Alcest. I didn't know them. I was invited by the Mortajas bass player, but
Okay.
it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a festival like that is a great jumping off place for you guys because the way you sound and the way you don't sound like anyone else, I think it's a great place to get discovered. Maybe have an older band take you out with them. That'd be perfect.
It will be cool, yeah. Actually, we're planning to do our first tour in Europe. We're in talks.
Okay.
Well, it's like the label wants to us to tour with Sihin, our friends from Sihin. I hope it can be possible. I don't know it will be. I hope so. But yeah, it will be cool. I don't think we can tour alone. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great to, exposure is everything, and then someone's going to pick you up and you're going to end up at Maryland Death Fest over here. I can feel it.
That'd be great. Yeah.
hope so. Actually, our drummer plays in the last edition with River.
Okay.
Oh.
He said it was the best day of his life.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. Well, I hope to see you guys over here within the next couple years. Keep on doing what you're doing, and I believe it will happen. You guys
Yeah.
are great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The sounds of decay!
Sounds of Decay 1. This is Pop and Goo with Lampe Ray. Our obsession this week with all things Latino continues with Pop and Goo, a 6-piece plus from the coastal town of Hoa Pessoa on the east coast of Brazil. Lampe Ray is the band's second full length following their acclaimed debut, Holoceno, in 2021. Albeit metal fans that don't mind a little Wurlitzer and congas folded into the mix should have a blast unraveling these 9 Portuguese parallelograms in the form of 9 songs, 6 of which eclipse the 6-minute mark.
It's a concept record based on the story of Virgilino Ferreira da Silva, a notorious leader of bandits called Cancaserios, known for clashing with police and even the military as they looted and pillaged, sometimes taking over entire towns for a while. While the last album recalled traces of Neurosis and Hawkwind underneath the unpronounceable instruments and jazz leanings, this one seemed more steeped in Soft Machine and Crimson. But Pop and Goo shows off a gravitas all their own on this Renaissance metal opus and it seems there's no instrument this bunch can't fold into the recipe.
The bass line that opens up, Biota. Full title translated to English, Biota, incident in the baptismal font of the chapel of Born Jesus dos Officios.
That's a mouthful there, yeah.
Kicks off with an absolutely sinister pulse from bass player Marco Mayer that wanders through atonal guitar noodlings, topped by the dreadful vocal scowl of singer-guitarist Ray Acoli. The juxtaposition of the doomy pulse with the very Robert Fripp-esque guitar bloops and clean piano melodies offers a, till now, unheard approach to musical brutality. Weird as fuck, but we love it, kiddos.
Maracutea starts off with some ass-shaking drum and piano workouts reminiscent of Santana in spots, advancing to jazzy chords, grooving on a downright impossible time signature from drummer Victor Alves, who is also listed as playing the triangle. So we got to have that, right? It's a sound that steps into jazz prog hell 1 minute and downright danceable fare the next. But the one I keep coming back to is the hypnotic riffarama of Offerenda no Algadar. Accioli's clean vocals, the perfect foil to ever-building drama that bounces along on dissonant hiccups 1 minute and yacht rot adjacent noodlings the next. This is quite an album to digest. I count at least 11 musicians involved in the project based on their Bandcamp page. 3 paragraphs in, and I haven't even tried translating the lyrics yet. I'll leave that for you guys to tackle. But in the meantime, definitely start getting your head around Lampe Ray and start some hardcore horizon-broadening stat. Ciao, baby. This song is called Offerenda no Algadar.
Sounds of Decay 2. This is Deceased, Children of the Morgue.
Yay, Americans. Sorry.
Despite the extensive cover albums and demo reissues that have been flowing from the Deceased camp these past few years, the fact remains that the last bona fide new music from the band was actually 2018's Ghostly White record. But the band's reputation for quality is well known, and upon the very first listen to Children of the Morgue, it is obvious that King Foley and crew have poured heart and soul into this, their 8th full-length, a concept record that explores all aspects of death and dying. The disc is packed with 12 songs that span 55 minutes of hard-charging death metal, traditional-style chuggery, and eerie doom explorations. The guitar tandem of Mike Smith and Shane Fagel are likely the modern equivalent of Michael Denner and Hank Sherman. Their knack for intensifying speeding tempos and adding depth and shades of color puts them in a class by themselves.
The title track sets the mood for the record. Drummer Amos Rifkin taking off at high speed, King Foley's distinctive bark painting scenes from the mortuary, while Smith and Fuegel cycle through a seemingly endless supply of exciting riffs and deft leads and fills. The flowing acoustic Skull with the Vacant Scare is a perfect nod to classic 30-second metal intros of old. As the song it sets up, the brutal blaster Brooding Lament bounds from the speakers with thrash metal urgency, seasoned wolves from King Foley, and a bevy of interesting open guitar voicings that open up interesting sonic trapdoors when we least expect it.
It's the attention to details that matter, people, and nothing is lost on Foley, as is evidenced by the creepy female vocals he laces into the lurch of the Gravedigger, a track that also happens to sport some of the best Lizzie-style guitar harmonies of the record. Of course, the one I keep coming back to is Fed to Mother Earth. Its classy lead setting up the track before the first vocal. There's a ton more creepy female spoken word on this track. I assume it is Foley's wife, but the name isn't actually listed. And the track goes through several tempo changes in its 7+ minute runtime, enhanced by some goosebump-inducing howling leads as the song bounds around hairpin turns.
Expect to see this latest quality album from Virginia's finest on plenty of best ofs at the end of this year. Welcome back, Deceased, and up the tombstones. This song is Fed to Mother Earth. Okay, Sounds of Decay 3 is the exciting new album from Nails, Every Bridge Burning. Recently, while watching an old American Horror Story episode, there's this one scene where members of a cult kill a tied up member by all taking turns shooting a nail gun into various parts of the victim's head. It jumped to mind seconds after hitting play on this album, finding a parallel of slamming into that same level of brutality and aggression on display in these 10 new tracks from this kind of Nails. After 8 years, this revamped four-piece out of Oxnard, California returns with a vengeance with their fourth full-length. Mainstay Todd Jones joins forces once again with longtime producer Kurt Ballou to create a sound on brand in these tracks that smack by, most in the 1 to 3 minute range. It seem longer due to the sheer density of the way they're packed together.
The opening track, Imposing Will, is an immediate invasion, with pounding drums of Carlos Cruz tag teaming off the top rope with fuzztastic riffing of Shelby Lermo, creating a really distinctive pattern. Jones' vocals are guttural, wet bark, biting and mordant. Punishment Map is also set at the breakneck pace of a Royal Rumble, Cruz adding liberal doses of blast beats and rollouts, while Lermo's guitar sound is harsh enough to pin your face to the mat. Andrew Solis's bass line heightens the ferocity as Jones screeches like a banshee about fellow California fiend, the Golden State Killer. Ski mask, flashlight, rope tied, terrorize.
I Can't Turn It Off is a punk-informed anthem of sorts, with the wah-wah riffs falling at ludicrous speed and drums pounding like the surf on Fast Forward, till they break out in a spank and tickle the tom solo. I don't want it to stop. While everyone got soft, I won't turn it off. I can't turn it off. Changing things up for a doomier pace on tracks like Lacking the Ability to Process Empathy, where the riffs turn chuggy and thick with 1 second of a dead stop. Solis's bass notes are elongated here, further intensifying the atmosphere. No More Rivers to Cross is in a similar place, but with the riffs in long vibrato notes before getting shorter and chunkier. Jones's vocals are particularly acidic. It closes with power chords over industrial clunks until the Nails' preferred outro, a feedback squall.
My favorite track is Give Me the Painkiller, with a crunch-packed hooky guitar melody that resurfaces throughout the track and also features a short, noodly solo. It's a fortification of constant combustion of battering drums and growling riffs. Jones had an extra growl of his own vocals here to add more fuel to the fire. Jones stated that for this album, he wanted to model it after the type of bands. When they put out an album, you know what it's going to sound like. It's the delivery of the expectation, full of combative style with concentrated, intense slabs of clamor. I think we can safely say they hydraulic power nailed it. Welcome back, Nails. All right, let's play a song. This is Give Me the Painkiller.
Oh, we made it through. Mamma mia. Those names were tough.
Woo. So, small disclaimer. We're not Hispanic in any level, so forgive us if we mispronounced things.
We quite butchered it, I'm sure.
I know we got a little flack from another band member said we killed his last name, but we try. We really try to get it right.
But more importantly, we had weird zoo stories. That was fun.
Yeah, there was one other race I ran that was right in Druid Park. It was the dreaded Druid Hills. And we were all supposed to dress up in Halloween costumes, and it poured down rain. There was some poor girl who was a crab. Her poor antennas were at the end of it.
Wilted.
Yeah, wilted. It was pretty fun.
Is that a scrotum hanging from that truck?
God, why? I don't understand. There's no female trucks, or maybe you just can't tell. Haha. You have to lift up the tailgate.
All right, giggle mugs. This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to our mates from Mayhemic for appearing on the show. May their Chilean cup overflow. Snaggletooth theme by Gustav Jord of Defleshed. Sounds of Decay theme, the old mucker Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Season 3 artwork courtesy of KC Angel. Bubble around and fancy this week's Sounds of Decay Bands. Papengu, Deceased, and Nails. All content 2024, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. That's all, mates. Don't forget to pay your tab. It may be your last.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.